Jai in Baltimore, a chance for him. Jai, well, you should be doing your schoolwork right now. Jai, not listening to Christopher Russo. How are you? Okay, pal?
I'm good, Mr. Russo. I'd like to listen to the first hour, and then I get my homework started. But I want to talk about this Bengals situation. And you thought you was happy on Sunday, the fact that Andy Dalton threw that touchdown pass. I was more ecstatic because, I mean, this is just proof. And Stephen A., who I love and respect and I admire just like yourself, he's saying on SportsCenter last night how it's a disgrace that the Bengals re-signed him.
No, that's not true. Come on, Steve, wake up. That's a disgrace. Who was going there? I mean, there's nobody else unless you want to make a change and bring in some assistant who you've never heard of from some bad organization to coach the team. That is a terrible job. Nobody wants the job. I mean, again, I don't know if he should be there for 15 years either, but they got to look at the replacements. It's not a great pool. Go ahead. Continue.
Right. And it's not like that Forrest Gregg is coming out of retirement.
Good point.
To coach the team.
Yep.
And you have to keep in mind that this is an owner that all he cares about is his money. Back in '95, when he got sick and tired of Riverfront, he threatened to move the team to Baltimore if he didn't get a new stadium. So this is the guy who all he cares about is his pocketbook. And Marvin, and like to the guy that you had on to be your substitute Monday, the Big O who was on, he mentioned the same thing about the Dolphins quarterback situation, that you got to basically stick with what you have unless you find someone who's better than the guy you already have. You can't replace Marvin Lewis with John Gruden, or you can't replace Andy Dalton with Aaron Rodgers. You basically got to settle for what you have and quote unquote do the best with what you have and settle for mediocrity until you have someone who...
That's exactly right. And again, the one thing about the team, Giant, go do the work now. The one thing about the team that you have to be fair about, they did not quit on Marvin Lewis those last two games. Now, they had a bad stretch there after they lost to Pittsburgh on December 4th. A terrible loss. It ruined their season. They had a chance in that spot to really, to get the 500 and make a run. They lose that game to St. Louis, to Pittsburgh, and then they absolutely fall apart from there on in. I mean, they play terrible football. I'm going to look at let me look at that schedule. They lose to Pittsburgh. They get buried by the Bears. They play badly in Minnesota, and then they respond. A Pittsburgh game took a lot out of them. They had two awful games, and then they recovered. They did not show me. Now, if they would have lost to Detroit and went to Baltimore and get routed 30-3, I'd have a little different feel of this. But I was so impressed with the way they won the game on Sunday, 90 yards. They hung in there. They showed a lot of toughness. They showed some guts against a desperate team. And don't give me this stuff about this huge rivalry, all right? The Ravens are not the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know it's a divisional game, but they're not the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not their arch enemy. So from that standpoint, I understand why they bring Lewis back. It's not the worst thing in the world. Donnie is in Ottawa, and he says hello. Don, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Doggy, Happy New Year, buddy.
You too, Don. Thank you. What's up now? Let me hear.
Well, listen, I'm going to talk about Marvin Lewis, and I'm going to talk about the timing of it. It's a 2-year contract, and you think of the state of the division right now. Roethlisberger is debating retirement. Hugh Jackman, whatever his name is one. And
Hugh Jackson, not the greatest showman. Hugh Jackson of the Browns. Go ahead.
Exactly. He's won one game in 2 years. And John Harbaugh, there's rumors about him being out too. And Joe Flacco is not the quarterback he was when he...
I don't think there's rumors about Harbaugh. That's just me saying that. I don't think there's anything substantial to it. It's just a theory that I would have. I'd be a little worried. I think maybe a change is necessary in Baltimore. A little fresh voice. That wouldn't be the worst thing. Harbaugh is there for the last 3 years. I don't think he's done great. So, I mean, that would be my point. I don't think he's going anywhere, though. I don't think he's going anywhere.
My point, Doggy, is that the division in the next 2 years, and again, it's a 2-year contract. It didn't sound to a 5-year contract or a 7-year contract. The division in the next 2 years could be up for grabs depending on situations with all these other teams, especially if Roethlisberger decides he's hanging it up. So it's not the time. It's not the time to rebuild. You have a quarterback. You have two running backs. You got that Mixon guy who's a star, probably could be anyway. You got a decent defense. Why not stay the course for 2 years? See what happens in your division, and then decide.
Yeah,
that's why I think they signed him.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they, I don't know if that played into it at all. I know there might be an opening. I get that. I don't know if that played into it. I think the idea that they showed gumption late in the year, I think it's probably, he's had some regular season success. The team seems to like him. He's comfortable with the system, the complicated front office that resides in Cincinnati. There's a comfort level. I think that all has something to do with it. Now, here's Harbaugh for a second. All right. Since 2013, 8-8, 10-6, lost the first round playoff. No, 10-6, lost the divisional game to the Patriots. They played well 2014. 2015, 5-11. 2016, 8-8. 2017, 9-7. So 4 of the last 5 years, he in Baltimore has gone. Be fair now. This is 4 of the last 5 years. Since 13, he's gone 8-8. He's gone 10-6. He's gone 5-11. He's gone 8-8. He's gone 9-7. It's a long time for Harbaugh there. I tell you, how about the Harbaugh weekend? Jim is maybe one of the most overrated college coaches we've ever seen. Michigan spent a fortune to bring him there, and he has done, let's call it like we see it, he has done nothing. He can't beat Michigan State. Brady Hope can do better than that. He can't, Hope, whatever his name is. He can't beat Michigan State. He can't beat Meyer, and he can't win a bowl game, and he can't find a quarterback. So you got him, and then Harbaugh for the last 5 years has been inept with the Ravens. Let's call it like we see it. And not only that, he moaned and groaned about having to play at 425, killing the NFL on New Year's Eve, forgetting that the Chargers are in the mix for a postseason spot, and they play in L.A. I guess he forgot geographical location. Not in front of the hour. We continue. Mad Dog on.
Every NFL playoff.